This is the high speed I'm going to be working on. We picked this game up kind of as a junker, and I've already touched up the outside of the cabinet. I mean, there's still some spots that could be done. I haven't mixed any yellow, red, or white, just the black. But we're considering whether or not to do radicals on this, maybe give it a full repaint. But at the same time, it's really not that bad. So the outside of the cabinet we're going to leave like this for right now. I wouldn't be upset if I have to come back and do this later. What I'm going to work on right now is redoing the inside of this cabinet. Not the coin door at the moment, but this needs redone. Basically pulling everything out here, redoing the metals. You can see this rear speaker grill, rather rusty and nasty. I know it's on the back of the game, but I'm going to redo it. This is going to be home good. So the playfield is going to be really nice. New plastics, new playfields over there, star post rubbers, the whole lot. But some stuff like the back of the cabinet here is really beat up. You know, there's some things in the neck. But the front's fine. So I'm not really going to worry about it. This isn't a high-end restoration. It's a mid-level restoration. Seriously, it's the back of the cabinet. I will give it new cabinet sliders, though. I have them at the shop. Right now, I'm going to sand down all the inside of this. The whole interior is going to get painted black. It will look way better than this. I'll have to see. I might be able to paint this, too. The transformer. Get all the rust off the power box. Hopefully by the end of this should all look really nice. I'll see whether or not I'm going to clean up this wiring harness. I think it's entirely going to depend on how easily the dirt comes out of it. Alright, well, let's see where I get started. Just talking about how this game's a junker. This is the playfield, or the old one. See a lot of rusty bits all over the place. You know, somebody cut the flipper coil, taped it off, and it was still being used. Diodes broken everywhere. I soldered one new coil in. Somebody cut these. Actually, I don't know if those were cut or just shaved off. Oh, come on, autofocus. Oh yeah, there's a new camera. It's a lot better. I have to play with the settings, but it's significantly better. There's a lot of putzed up insulation all over the place. Will it focus? Come on. Ooh, yes it will. Eventually. It takes a while. Okay, I'm gonna have to play with that. But there's broken wires all over the place. There's just coils are messy. Most coils on this game are getting replaced. This one, ooh, where's the good one? Oh yeah, this. Shattered diode up top. Someone just had another one, they had it wrapped around the lug. So that was nice and professional. Everything, there's a stick. I think that should give you an indication of how nice this game is. If I flip it here, here is the nasty, nasty playfield. There's that horrible touch-up. And over that touch-up is Mylar. We were initially going to just really touch this up and make it a playable instead of a restore. But I mean, everything is futzed up on this. There's a rusty nail. Look at that. A lot of the targets are musty. That pop bumper is just straight up in half. The pop bumper caps are really nice. A little weird. There's these random bits here. Massive flathead screws. A lot of rust. I'm also going to be redoing this apron, which isn't horribly bad on the player side, but not only is it very rusty down here, but the playfield plastics and rubbers are all going to be new, so I'm not going to cheap out here. Though we did already make the apron cards, so we felt like it. Well, that spinner's okay, the other one's kind of not. There's a lot to do, and I have to see. It's going to take a while, so this is definitely going to be a multi-part video, but let's start with the cabinet. It is actually Christmas, so my time is going to be a little weird. I'm also going to do the inside of the head, but that's probably not going to get done today. The top of the head as well. This is a good example of what my issue is. You see all this moisture cracking all over the inside of the game. Now I'm going to sand this down, and where the player sees here, I'm going to be a little bit more thorough than the rest of the game. The rest of it, I'm just going to get it smooth. You know, like smooth to the touch, but this I'd like to get visually smooth as well. And I have to pull the buttons back out. These are also new already. Much to do. Alright, to make this easy and so I don't lose parts, I'm going to break this up into chunks. Probably by where these wooden supports are. I had to add this bracket back here, as there was water in here, and this support bracket was starting to go. As you can see on this side, it's actually supposed to extend down a lot further, so I added this. That's gonna get painted over, just hide it. I'm gonna be nice about painting it, you know, no landlord special. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with this transformer housing here. I believe there's some kind of wood or plastic. Obviously I'm not gonna paint this because it's not safe. But I am gonna do this, and it really needs to sand down. I'm at home right now, I'm not at the shop. So I don't have access to the same level of things I do at the shop. So I'm gonna have to make do with what I have here. Let me pull that transformer out. Here's our transformer. It's actually a metal casing, but that's not that big of an issue. I'm going to sand it in here, or up top here. I have to vacuum up this cabinet before I paint the bottom of it, and I don't currently have a work table. I'm gonna do it in here. I gotta find a space to put the camera. We're gonna find out. I think this is the best I can do here. I'm gonna try this sanding block. Hopefully that'll pull some of the gunk out. These side brackets I'm gonna detach and spray paint. I gotta make a little short-term spray booth in here. The majority of the rust is down there. That's quite nasty. Will you ever see it? No, but we're here. We're gonna sand it down. Do it right. Everything cleaner. Not quite. I thought it was done. Alright. This is a case of get it flat. This is not flat. It actually left rust stains in the cabinet on the wood. And I see that there's a spray print down here. It's not that important, and it's gonna get painted over. Alright, this is about as good as it's gonna get. It is actually smooth. There's no longer the chunks on the bottom. Before I give this a light coat of paint, I mean, it's gonna take a while to dry, so I'm gonna paint that, sand the opposite, and vice versa. I'm gonna pull this bracket off, and then I need to find a wire wheel somewhere in here. That's probably the easiest way to clean that out. I wonder if I should do it a funky color or just black. I don't know, maybe some red, yeah, we'll see. Alright, I got the brackets off, and I did find a wire wheel, though the bottom of it really didn't get much better, so I think smooth is the best I'm gonna get. I'm gonna go and clean up the rest of this, but I'm gonna do something a little odd. Right here, where the brackets go, is actually grounding for the transformer and cabinet. So I'm gonna leave this area unpainted, and I'm not gonna paint the side of the bracket that goes onto here to promote good contact, but I do need to remove this rust. A lot of the rust didn't quite come off of this. It's kind of shoved down in there. Come with me, sticker. But I mean, it's smooth, it's clean, and I'm gonna paint over it. I don't really know if this paint is good for this. I don't know what kind of paint would be good for painting a transformer housing. I mean, I guess I'll use this, see how it holds up over time, but really, what's the worst thing that happens? It turns rusty? It is. This is the paint I use for the Williams heads. I've kind of decided that this is just going to be universal black for me. So I'll always have it. I mean, it's a really good satin for most applications for what I want to do. Like this transformer, if it were as shiny as it is with this first coat, it would look a little bit goofy, but it levels out to a really nice satin. Just gonna take a while. Bit of a time jump here, but it is Christmas, so you'll have to excuse me. I got the transformer painted up. Paint actually is perfect for what I want. There's a little, that's actually rust. I'll have to see if that cleans off, or I'll throw another light coat of paint. I also have the new leg plates for here. All right, I'm gonna actually do the back area there, get that all done, because that can start drying, the leg plates on. Oh, and notice this. This is a replacement ground wire that I've made. A lot of the original grounding for this game is broken. I recall something being broken up front here. I'll have to find out, remember what it was. Oh, I think, yeah, it's this braid strap should jump over to the coin door, and it doesn't. And then this braid strap should also jump up to here, and it doesn't. So I'm gonna have to make a few. That way I have a complete safety grounding chain. It'll run without it, but it's a safety thing, and I'd like to do a good job. I know it'll look out of place, but they're crimped. and they're soldered, and it's gonna have a good, secure, clean connection. So I'm good with that. Let's start back there. You know what I could start with is getting a vacuum. Area is clear. However, nasty ass piece of metal. This is the inner facing part. This is the outer facing part. You can actually see the outlines. Good lord. I'm gonna wire wheel all that down. It is probably gonna be a little bit deformed or funky. It's in the back of the game. I am going to do these in the same red as that bracket there. One, because I feel like it. B, I have more red spray paint than I do black spray paint. And I cannot be bothered to powder coat these. I have a really nice shiny red powder. I don't care. It's almost the same color as the spray can. And this is not going to be in a moisturous area for a while. Oh, it's cool. You can't see that at all. Check this out. I powder coated this flashlight purple. Let's get you all set up in there. Come on. Right, there it is. It looks like structurally the mesh is okay. The holes are still hole-shaped. I was really not expecting that for the amount of rust that's on here. This is about as cleaned up as it's gonna get. There's massive chunks missing out of here from water and probably mice, other things. But the wood, where it can be, is smooth, clean, and I cleaned it with this, so I usually just give it a second to dry. I'm gonna go grab some fresh rags and the paintbrush. I've got a good amount of the inside of the cabinet done. The back wall here is done. I filled in all of the critty spots and mouse, water, whatever damage that is. I've also done most of this side, but not all of it. And I've decided I'm going to repaint this block as well. And I've got some white paint of the same brand to help me out with that. I've also got some staples for the staple gun for when I get to the playfield. And I'm also working on cabinet regrounding. A lot of the grounding wire was just missing or broken, so I'm just replacing it with standard wire with eyelets on it, as opposed to this flat stuff, because I don't have it. This end has to go up to the other side, so I need it. But now the head grounding is actually connected, because previously it was not. Here's another one of my grounding wires. This one jumps into the head, but then the one that goes to the cabinet wasn't actually attached to the body. There's a lot of messed up grounding at the front, all over the cabinet, and I'm just gonna overall make sure it's secure and done right. Here's the back portion together with the nice red plates. I also did them on the bottom, but you're never gonna see that, and I don't think I'm gonna paint the bottom here. I don't really want to. There's no reason. Power plugs back in, clean that all out. I painted this side bit here, and you can see paint is over the grounding strap, but I will clean that out before I put it back in. These were white at one point, believe it or not. Most of the time you open them up and they're nasty ass yellow. But here's the slider trackball. It's not the name for it. Slam ball, I think it is. Now, I don't use these. I find that they cause more problems than they solve. No one's really slamming these anymore, but I will make it work. And I'll keep the ball in a bag, which needs cleaned up, but I want it to make good contact for if anyone in the future decides to use it. Somebody's hacked the volume potentiometer. They just put another one on there. That is not how electrical systems work, by the way. But check out the grounding on this. No way it was making a ground connection. It's nasty. It's fuzzy nasty. So this is gonna get cleaned up. Cleaned up with the wire brush. I'm gonna reassemble this bit, bolt it back in, screw it back in. Not a car, no bolts. After I do the black over there, and then that'll be pretty much this whole side done, not including the coin door area. I'm glad I'm painting the inside of the cabinet because it's really hiding a lot of the imperfections this game has. Definitely the right choice. I'm finally starting to get over to the other side here. I pulled the transformer back out for some space. I pulled this off so I could just paint around the mounting edge. And this game was basically entirely ungrounded. except for the transformer, so I've been repairing that as I go. The lockdown bar is off right now. I'm just painting that to a nice crisp black. I've actually got some clear coat on it, as well as the prop bar is being painted as well, although I'm not throwing any clear on that, seeing as it's going to scratch regardless. The cabinet body is pretty much done. The coin door I'm going to do at another time, take it to work, probably give it a powder coat. I got to get new buttons for this, but it'll work. I also have to polish up these side rails. You know, there's a handful of paint things I got on there. The inside of the cabinet's done. Came out pretty good. I mean, there's an uneven spot here and there, but it's worlds better than it was, and I'm more than happy with this. Went back over the outside a little bit as well. Made sure all of the black was touched up and good. And now it's time to get to the playfield. The upper right flipper, I believe it was the lower left, upper right, both have contraptions attached to them, and my best guess is that it's an override switch to provide power to the coil. But it's just, why? Because you can do this in test mode anyway. I would say it was someone doing some shitty diagnostics, but then why would there not be one for this coil? This coil's still wired to the harness normally. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna resplice these wires, heat shrink soldered as to keep the factory color, and just generally undo. I have all new coils for this game. I saw that shoddy wiring and just went, yeah, nah, we're getting new ones. That's the correct wiring, best I can tell. I know this end stroke switch goes to the middle terminal, and these two were the same color. They look like primary power. And this one's a different color, and it's usually the separate color that's mated with the other end of the EOS. So hopefully that's correct. I had to fix some shitty previous fixes because they were bad and the harness was burning. That's all good to go again. I'm gonna have to do that twice more. We're gonna flip this playfield around. Alright, so I'm looking at the linkages down here. I just finished putting this coil on. This spring is on backwards. This spring is on correctly, but I've never seen this linkage before. This is not a Williams linkage, and it's probably not a flipper linkage. If I had to guess, it's from some obscure Gottlieb. Also, these backing rubbers here, focus please, there we go, are just charred and absolutely destroyed. So I'm gonna have to get replacements. I have replacements at the shop, but I'm not at the shop. I'm hoping they came in the flipper rebuild kit, and I have a feeling they didn't. So I'm gonna get this coil over here soldered on, then I have some targets to replace, at which point I'm going to start transferring stuff over to this playfield. So check this out. This is a Pinbot with a high-speed MPU, 82-339. This is high speed. And if you look in our cabinet, everything else on this is 82-339. So that's where the MPU from this went. I don't know what this was. Somebody kind of patched over it. All I can see is 091. I'm not sure if that's a void or something else on top of it. That was a cool find. Why it was ripped out, I don't know. My guess is this got sidelined because... and somebody ripped the MPU out as parts. Why it got an MPU back in it, I don't know. It's also not particularly far from where we got this machine, which is pretty cool. So, that was neat. I'm still getting this wiring done. I had to make an extension because of the weird micro switch crap that was done. I have the center wire on, and I have to fix this conglomeration. Getting 3 wires onto one lug neatly never goes well. I'm just gonna do my best. I was thinking that third wire was odd. It's from this stupid-ass switch, so I just need to get these 2 on there. Got this imposter diode here in the lamp matrix, which is probably where one of the previous owners stole the diode that's on that crappy switch thing and put it on there. Now factory, these are 4001 diodes. Where are my pliers? Now would be a good time. I don't have a 4001. I have a 4007 IN. I don't know what the IN stands for. I don't really care. The only difference is that the reverse voltage is 1,000 volts instead of like 10 volts. Could you please please come off. You know what? I know what I'm gonna do. Bye-bye. Get out of here. So I just gotta keep the band in the same direction. 1,000-volt reverse diode, reverse voltage is absolute overkill for this. But it will work, and it will work well. That's more so what I'm concerned about, is it working and working well. There you go, there's one end. Oh great, this is the end with the power wire on it. Okay. Oh, I gotta keep talking, otherwise it's gonna copyright Led Zeppelin in the background. If the microphone's even good enough to pick it up. I haven't gone on the computer with this microphone yet. I got this for Christmas, the whole camera. It's already miles better than the old one, which, no fault of the old one. It was, I mean, it was over a decade old. It was pretty good for what it was. It's like a mid-level Nikon. This is some kind of Sony. Oh good, this is actually a 2-lug tab. That would be if I could get the solder out of the top lug. Hello? I'm just gonna stick, come on. Yo. I'm not playing this game. Alright, so I'm gonna restrip this wire and probably put it in the bottom one. I don't like that they overstuffed it and put the diode and the wire on the same one. It kind of makes it difficult to service. Just gonna twist these together. Shove them this time into the bottom one. I just don't want them shorting against the base, which now that I think about it is probably why they did that. Yo, twist and stay. Stay that way. Okay. Now I'm not asking. I'm gonna bend that out a little. Alright, I've bent the tab out a little bit just to give it some extra clearance to the center, as I really don't want it shorting across. That would just kind of be a pain that I'm not up for. Not the most proper, but it works, and it is making some sort of connection down there. Let's grab my diode, melt this, get that through there. Let that solidify. Give her a little more solder just to keep her on. Oh, wait a minute, can I? No, I can't. Ooh, that's really hot. That's really hot. Alright, so now we're gonna kind of goofily... Wow, it's still really hot. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed? Kind of goofily bend this. Push it back into there. That is secure. Grab a little snippy snips. Snippy, what the fuck what am I talking about? There you go, somewhat proper diode replacement. Dude, there's just weird low effort things on this game too. Like this coil's been replaced, not by me. It's upside down. Should be that way. Does it matter? I mean, no. I'm gonna put it back on the right way. What does matter is this screw. Yes, it's on, it's secure. I don't like it. And I have a bunch of screws over there, so I can actually put it back together the right way. But I'm gonna finish soldering everything on. That's my goal for tonight. It's again the end of the day. Is to get all the new bits onto here. This is already prepped and the common wire is on there. And then be able to start moving everything over tomorrow. That's my big goal. Here's my nice new yellow spot target. And here's the old spot target. And it surprised the hell out of me when I pulled it out and the target foam was still there. This is usually the very first thing to go on just any game. First thing, those fall off. But no, it stayed on pretty good. The lug setup's a little different on these old ones, but it shouldn't be a problem at all. Just need to convert it. I haven't been filming much of this process, but I've been labeling everything on both sides of the playfield. So you have your starting mark and your receiving mark, and I've slowly been freeing the harness up so I can get it transferred over. Leaving the screws in the old playfield is the easiest way to keep track of them until you get it over. But I have a tendency to move these screws over. These are the harness screws. You get the wire, the whole harness over, you get the harness screws in, and that kind of helps give you a general idea of where everything's supposed to be. It's not the best, but it works better than nothing. I still have plenty to get freed up on here, and I haven't even touched the top side of the playfield. I don't know what I'm doing about this. It's trapped at the moment. And I believe I may just temporarily snip these wires since I've been resoldering a lot of stuff anyway and get that on that way. I've been cleaning out these sockets as well with it's like a little clay stick with metal embedded into it. They're all nasty, but they're going to have to do. I don't have replacements. When I turn this on, if a bunch of them are out and it's not the bulbs or the driver and the socket's known bad, then I'll replace the sockets, but I'm not doing it now. My last large bit to do is the flippers. Those need to come off. Other than that, it's just loosening a lot of screws. Almost there, just taking while I'm labeling every single socket and its receiving end over there. It's a lot of this. Grab the harness and put it over here. And don't worry too much about where stuff lands. It's getting stuck on things. There's no more tie downs.
It's caught right there.
There you go.
All done.
Look at how many screws there are. It's a lot of...
Yeah.
6 trillion things, not including any of the soldering or wiring. Yeah. The wire swap's actually going fairly well. I've got it somewhat organized up here, and I don't really know how I formed Mount Everest, but we'll break that down in a bit. Unfortunately, I've been having to replace all of these long screws, so the things that hold in switches, like these. I've had to replace them. I've been using them from the box, because when I put these in under load, they snap. I should have kept one, for example, but I didn't. I've also been loading down these T-nuts with PB Blaster. They're not ideal to reuse. However, if the threads are clean, they're going back in, because then I don't have to fight to figure out sizes. They look like they're all 6/32, but I don't know. And like I said, as long as the threads are okay, it being externally rusty is fine. And I'll clean it up in any area that it might encroach onto the threads or cause a problem in the future. But like I said, it's easier for me to just knock it out, put it straight over the new playfield, and knock it straight back in. Just makes my life way easier when I'm doing 600 T-nuts. I'm hoping these screws come out. I know PB Blaster's not really for wood, but man, I'll take anything I can get with those screws. They're pretty damn bad. You'll have to tolerate the sound of ads for a moment, but I've got most of the harness secured. I've been going through and replacing coil sleeves as well, because given how abused the rest of the game was, they should be replaced. I got this one... Oh, excuse me. I got this left sling with the coil in the right way, and despite the weird markings, it is still correct. It's AL23800-01, but it is still a 23800 round coil. So, damn it, it will work. I just got a bunch of stuff to finish at the back of the board. Another significant time jump, but I have most of it wired. All the pop bumpers are together. This switch is broken. There's supposed to be a long wire form on the end of this, and of course, not only is it not focusing, but it's specific to this game. Come on. It is a Cherry switch. If it would love to show you, it would not. Cherry Corporation switch. They don't make them anymore. I've also got the flipper coils mounted. I'm going to try and have this together and able to run diagnostic mode sitting inside the cabinet. The last major things I have to do are transfer all the T-nuts. I don't want to use these rusty ones, so I do have new ones. And get any of these cut wires. They run the switches on top of the playfield. I had to cut them. Get the switches transferred over onto this playfield and all wired up. After that, it's just star post, plastics, flippers, that target bank, light bulbs, running tests. There's a couple things to still do. And I have some new parts still on the way, but the old ones will suffice until they get here. Almost done the transfer process. I still haven't gotten to those targets. I'm starting to do this outer woodworking, getting it on here. I need to fix that alignment. And I've gotten this wiring in, and where is it? Resoldered and shrink wrapped. And the old playfield is almost bare. It's upside down at the moment. We're getting there. And I got to get that assembly off the back, which is attached to the ramp, and there's 2 screws that don't want to come out. So I got to see what I'm doing about that. Other than that, I'm on pretty good track to at least get it functional tonight. I don't want to use the word finish, but functional. I've managed to break my screwdriver bit. Never broken a screwdriver bit before. I've broken other bits, but not a screwhead bit. It's gonna be a bit of a problem because I could still put a screwdriver head in a quarter inch, 3/8 drive, 1/4 inch socket, but it's not magnetized. The bit will keep falling out. I have to see if I have another one of these. I probably don't. I made this out of some bits in my toolbox. It should do. I don't know about the impact gun, but we're gonna find out. I have gotten a lot of off-camera work done. You can see I've cleaned up this table, I've vacuumed a bit, although there's already junk on the floor, and I've moved the playfield. The actual playfield is in the game. It doesn't quite work yet, and there's still bits on the original board. There's a loose wire in the back that I can't identify where it goes. There's not a good picture on IPDB, and I was looking at the switch row chart. It doesn't really make sense, so I'm going to have to figure that out. I accidentally blew a transistor immediately because this coil is bad. This is a brand new coil. It's got 0 ohms. The other two have 4 ohm, which is correct. These are 23800 coils. In the process of diagnosing it, it takes a 2.5 amp fuse. So what I figured I would do is I take a 3.5, didn't have a 3.5, grabbed a 4, and you take some insulated pliers like this and you just touch it to the spot. That way you can yank it back out before you damage anything. And I was hoping that the coil would lock on. And I'd be like, okay, that's the coil, figure that out. I forgot that if it's a shorted coil, that it'll just turn around and blow up the transistor. So it did. I actually wrote myself a note here for when I forget. Q72 is bad. I've already ordered parts for it, and I've found a correct fuse for that slot, so it's not that big a deal. I have a coil on hand, but I don't have a transistor on hand. Not that big of a deal. Here's that wire I was mentioning. This definitely contributes to the switch row because I'm missing a couple. I have no spinners at all. All the stand-up targets work though. I'm going to look back at the switch matrix and see what's up with that. Well, I've got it plugged in. There's just some test balls that I have. Like I said, there is still plenty to assemble on this playfield, but I can stand and work on this. Bend over a little less, help my back. Looks like there's some play I gotta investigate, but comes on, no error codes, no memory loss. This has NVRAM installed into it. Actually, check it out, it's got a label. The transistor that I blew is right there, Q72, focus please, and the fuse is currently empty, just as a safety. I assembled these pin scores before I started filming this. These aren't like the wolf packs where you have to build them yourself. These just came built. It did remember the credit. Oh, it's flashing on camera. It's just the camera, they don't flicker. Here's the wrong start button I still have to find a replacement for. Right. Ball search. But the trough and everything down here, it feeds it in. This shouldn't be doing a full loop-de-loop, but I think that's because the apron's not on. Oh, well, considering I've got no flipper assemblies, I can't do the start of the game rev, but does this work? Yeah, I got 2 flashers up there, and I have most of my stand-up targets. I have replacements for these I'm going to put in, but they all work, so the wiring's alright. Missing a ton of lights, but I can get up to red light. I wonder, does this work? No out hole. And the switch was fully depressed. Alright. It's at least operating of its own accord. But you get it to red, these targets need adjustment. And the switches up here don't register, which I'm pretty sure is because of that broken wire back there. And that stops the game from being playable. So does like half the things being missing and not having any spinner functional. And no kickback. It tries to fire the kickback though. The relay goes off. I have new parts for this on the way. These slings did work before the special solenoid went. This coil, everything registered. See, I'm missing the trigger switches for these. That coil just fired. That's good. But they do fire in test mode. Let me switch over to that. Oh, if you're wondering why it sounds terrible, it's because I have the bottom speaker blocked. Yeah, display's good. All lamps. Do you think I'm missing a few? Look at that, all over the place. This game's getting LEDs. I actually, now that this is in, I'll probably sit down and make the parts order for it. Single lamps. No. Oh, here's another issue. Right out lane. This being jammed. That's actually, these are fine. Right out lane constantly. Obviously the trough has balls in it, so it's gonna. Oh, damn it. It does see the ball shooter switch though. That's good. Yeah, right out lane, right out lane. Now I went over there, and the right out lane switch is not touching, so that's a wire short somewhere else. A lot of the insulation on this game was messy, so I wouldn't doubt that there's an issue somewhere. Switch over. Switch edges, but it gets most of it. Come on. But, you know, if I go up here to the pops or the ramp, I get nothing. So I gotta trace where that wire goes and see if that's the problem. I've gotten a good chunk of this together, and I figured out where that goofy wire went, that white and blue that was just hanging out. A link to this spinner, and you're gonna have to excuse the weird screws. It did me the courtesy of screwing down, and then when I went to unscrew it, snapped off in the wood. So that's the solution for the moment. Works fine, looks unprofessional, is what it is. The right spinner also doesn't always register. I got the spinner stickers on. Got this bank in, these all register, everything's fine. I can get it through to multi-ball. I'm missing a ton of flashers, and I accidentally blew the Q72 transistor because of a miswired coil. I've replaced the coil, ordered transistors, they're on the way. So I'm just gonna try and get the rails and everything else in, get the flippers in, and then I should be able to play it, provided I can find a way to mount this. Both of the screws broke off in the T-nut on the original playfield. But if I can do that, I should be able to play it, even though I'm missing a switch on this side. Alright, here's the game. We have a new back glass coming in. I've been hunting down some issues. The flippers doesn't work. It looks like I'm missing about half a 50-volt system, so I have to track that down. And the LEDs are on the way in. I have the plastics. Half the flashers don't work. But the playfield swap bit is done, and I'm running out of storage on the memory card for this camera, so I'm going to edit this together and throw it up. Whenever I get it done, I'll slap it into the next video. I know I didn't film nearly enough, but it wasn't meant to be an instructional guide. It was just meant to be what it is. Oh, I grabbed a start button for this out of a Liberty Bell EM. It's red instead of white, but it's the same button. Still matches anyway. But yeah, I need the memory back on this card, and I did film plenty. So there you go. There's high speed missing its glass. Ah, this is falling apart a lot since you've last seen it. There's a chunk. It's bubbling really bad all over the place. We got a mirrored back glass, so that'll be nice and shiny. Here's the rest of the parts. Oh, this has to go to the shop. These are new rubbers for Iron Man. Just throw them on the stairs. Yeah, high speed.